Welcome to Don't Talk to Strangers, a true crime podcast. We are your hosts, Hannah Elizabeth
and Kate Mitchell. This is a place where you can find true crime tales, morbid mysteries and all things spooky.
We are two Scousers with a true crime and red wine passion. Expect wine reviews, a few howls and much more.
Our podcast does include graphic content and explicit language. Discretion is advised.
So grab a bevy, it's about to get heavy.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Don't Talk to Strangers, episode
3. Episode 3.
Yeah.
What have we been up to?
Not much, to be honest.
Getting the build
it's just
up to Christmas
now, yeah, it's Christmassy.
It's cozy season, I love
cold
the summer,
nights,
but
yeah.
I love the cold night. I love the red
Rain,
wine,
yeah.
the candles. I've been really into me cooking, you know.
Heating on full blast.
What's my heating like?
So,
people come in my house and say it's sickly hot.
No, it is. I always go to the thermostat and I'm like, let me just look at it and turn it right down.
My heating is on full blast.
Yeah, but with Hannah, right, she gets obsessed, hyper fixated on things.
Have I got red wine lips?
Do the check. No, you're good.
Okay.
And this current one, what is it?
Cooking. I'm literally going. I've always loved cooking, right? So through the week, if I'm just doing a tea for me and Reg and that, I'll just do your basic stuff. But when I've got something in my head, I've made a cooking page, but it's not even because of that. If I'm entertaining and I've got a dinner party, I have to go above and beyond, don't I, Kate?
Yeah, and she does every single time.
And literally, I'll cook all day, but I've found myself going to bed at night, reading recipes and then dreaming about bread and then waking up cooking bread. It's mad.
No, she had plans or something this morning, so I had to make bread at 11 o'clock last night.
I had to cancel all the plans. Because the bread went to shit and it really pissed me off.
No, but the fact that she was I'm going to go downstairs at 11, make the dough.
7? I set the alarm at 7.
No, but last night, wasn't it? 11 p.m. You started making the dough, let it proof or whatever, then went down at 7 a.m. this morning to bake it. Or something, I don't know.
And if it's just
dedication.
Not perfect, I'm a perfectionist with cooking, so I'm backing me cooking. My cooking is very much winter though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's home cooked,
big
hearty
meals, red wine. I enjoy the whole thing. So I'll listen to true crime. My ideal day is listening to true crime, drinking red wine and cooking, and then giving it to my friends.
Yeah, my ideal day is eating it.
Coming round, candle on,
it is.
Arctic Monkeys on.
Yeah, and I turn up and go, right,
it's always
let's go.
Arctic Monkeys on, isn't it?
Yeah. Alexa, play. Blah, blah, blah.
Alexa's had enough for me.
No, because she has murder with Alexa every week.
But yeah, just cooking and just a little bit busy, in London and stuff. What about you?
Not much work, and that's it really. I've got my mates. Oh my God, my mate may have given birth by the time this comes out.
Yeah, I reckon she will.
I don't know what date this comes out.
New baba, so you need
God.
to get a good prezi.
We may have a new baba on the scene.
You need a good prezi.
That's a good point. I don't know when this comes out.
You need to think of this, Kate.
I know, I do.
So tonight we are drinking, we've already drank this one quite a few times.
Yeah.
We did mention this in our, one of our first podcasts, because I was we see it on the advert. I don't know what the advert's for.
They sponsor loads of stuff.
Something. Casero del Diablo.
Wine from the devil's cellar.
I said it had something to do with the devil, which was cool. But Casero del Diablo, that's in a Scouse accent, I don't know how you say it.
Casero.
So, a smooth, full-bodied Cabernet Sauvignon with cassis and black cherry flavours.
Okay.
I don't know what that is. Complemented by hints of coffee, stunning, and dark chocolate. It's nice with white meat.
No, I'm not a white. Well, chicken's
okay. Red meat.
Okay.
Hell yeah. Cheese and pork. So basically every meat.
All
and
the good
cheese
stuff.
And cheddar. So there you go. So we've had it before. How much was this? Was probably... Ooh, so this was from the Asda. I'd say it was £8-ish.
I think it is. Yeah, I think it is.
It's not your cheap shit, but it's not dear at all.
And they always seem to have these on offer.
Yeah, they do.
I feel like it's normally a tenner and then they offer for 8 or 7.
Yeah, and it's I don't know why, but it seems nicer than like the shit.
Yeah, no, I think this is a good little
I don't know why.
Well, let's have a little cheers.
Let's see what it tastes like.
Grab a bevy.
It's about to get heavy. Right, taste it.
Eat that noise.
Hannibal Lecter.
Unreal. That is nice, actually.
I mean, I think
it is very,
gorgeous.
like, deep.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the right word.
Well, I don't really know what wine it is.
Full-bodied.
Oof. Rotten.
Rotten.
But we're back. It's cosy.
You know who's rotten? This next fucking...
Oh, well, I can't wait. And I actually have had to sneak into this. A sneak.
Well, it's good because we always want your opinions and thoughts.
I've had a sneak peek into this. I know this case very well. And it's actually my birthday serial killer.
It is. We've all got
which
one.
I'm fuming about because I can't bear him. BTK.
Yep. Dennis.
Vile.
Lynn Rader.
And he's a Pisces. Can't relate to him.
He was.
He's an absolute freak. I'm fuming he's my birthday one, but take it away.
My birthday's one is Ed Gein.
Yeah, you've got a good one.
Well, yeah, but he's not serial killer.
Next year, it's all coming out.
I know.
We can't wait. And we'll do a big Ed Gein special, by the way, because Ryan Murphy, we are counting down the days for this, so yeah.
And it's like a year away.
Yeah.
Dennis Lynn Rader, known as the BTK killer, which stands for Bind,
Torture,
Kill, is one of America's most infamous serial killers, responsible for the brutal murders of 10 people in Kansas between 1974 and 1991.
Year after I was born, like, I'm old.
No, but I mean 74 to 90 or 30 years.
This is it. This is a longer spanning one than the others we've covered. But when I say about BTK, like, the details knock me sick with him. Like, he knocks me.
Rader's ability to blend into society while leading a double life as a family man, a community leader, all whilst committing heinous crimes, shocked the public and law enforcement. His crimes went unsolved for decades until his capture in 2005, after Rader taunted police and ultimately made the fatal mistake that led him to his arrest. Let's get into it.
Let's get all the gory details, babe.
Dennis Rader was born on March 9th.
Oh, that is my birthday, March the 9th.
1945, he's a bit older than you.
Wow, like, that is crazy. I need to know his birth chart.
I mean,
what's his rising?
Oh, I just had that he's a Pisces, and this is also Hannah's birthday.
Okay.
In Pittsburgh, Kansas. He's the oldest of 4 sons from a working class family. His father, William Rader, was a former US Marine and later worked for the Kansas Electric Power Company, while his mother, Dorothea Rader, was a homemaker. Rader's childhood appeared typical on the surface, but beneath the exterior of a normal family life, Rader harboured dark thoughts and violent fantasies from an early age.
How do we know that?
He told them.
Oh. Okay.
He told us.
Jealous.
Growing up in Wichita, Kansas, Rader exhibited early signs of sadism and deviant behaviour. He admitted to having fantasies about bondage, control and domination as a child, which were primarily directed towards women. He
was a bondage kind of guy.
He was engaged in behaviours like torturing small animals, which we know is a common tendency and an early indicator of psychopathy.
100%.
These disturbing tendencies, however, were kept hidden from his family and friends. By all outward appearances, Rader was a quiet, well-behaved boy. So this is interesting, where we say nature. From all accounts, he had a normal life.
Yeah. But this was going on behind closed doors.
And it was, what's the reason? So he wasn't born with it.
Yeah, the thing with, like, the animal thing and stuff, that's such a mad thing, isn't it? Because, you know, with animals you have, you know, they're so innocent, like, what?
And it's that first, like, experiment to go,
yeah.
Right, it's not a person. Yeah, it's bad. But
it's still crazy.
And he can do it and see how it feels, and then... Rader was also deeply insecure about himself, which fueled his desire for control and power over others. He later revealed that his fantasies of bondage, torture and murder began as a way for him to feel powerful and in control, compensating for the inadequacies he felt in his everyday life.
Yeah.
So after graduating from Wichita Heights High School in 1963, Rader briefly attended Kansas Wesleyan University but dropped out after only 1 year. In 1966, he enlisted in the US Air Force, where he served for 4 years before being honourably discharged in 1970. Following his military service, Rader returned to Wichita, where he worked various jobs, including an assembler for Coleman Company, which made camping supplies, and later as a compliance officer for a local government office. So, like, normal.
Yeah.
In 1971, Rader married Paula Dietz, and the couple went on to have 2 children. Rader appeared to lead a normal middle-class life in Wichita, where he was an active member of his community and served as the president of his church congregation at Christ Lutheran Church.
Yeah.
His family, friends and neighbours saw him as a devoted husband and father, a reliable worker and a respected figure in the community. However, beneath his facade of normalcy, Rader's dark impulses continued to grow.
Yeah, this is the dead scary thing about him.
I know.
I think we've
Bad.
always said that about him, that he was just such a family man.
I know.
He had his kids, his wife.
And they had no clue.
No one had a clue, did he? He just put up that facade like the whole time. He literally lived a double life.
In the early 1970s, Rader began to act on his violent fantasies. He developed what he called his Factor X, which was a term he used to describe the uncontrollable urge he felt to kill. Rader became obsessed with binding, torturing and killing women. He meticulously planned his attacks, stalking potential victims and fantasising about how he would control and dominate them. So this Factor X is what he's then told psychologists and stuff,
That was
being like
the phase that
and
he
that's
went
when
into.
Factor X would come up.
Factor X, X Factor. Babe.
What was the I was going to do the do, but that's not the right music. Anyway.
No, I can't even think.
Diddle-a-doo, boom. But that's fucking weird.
That's like Countdown.
That's it.
Or like, what's her name? Anne.
Oh, you are the weakest link.
Yeah, maybe not.
Goodbye. Dennis Rader's descent into infamy as the BTK killer began on a cold January morning in 1974, where he chose the Otero family as his first victims. It was a day that would forever haunt the quiet community of Wichita, Kansas. The Oteros, which compiled of Joseph Otero, who was 38, his wife Julie, who was 33, their son Joseph Jr., 9, and their daughter Josephine, 11, were unsuspecting of the horror that would unfold that morning.
Wow.
Rader meticulously planned the break-in, stalking the family for weeks, familiarising himself with their routines, and armed with a twisted sense of purpose, he forced his way into their home while they were still inside. What started as an ordinary day for the Oteros quickly turned into a nightmare.
I wonder why he picked them.
But often, I feel like whenever there's been a serial killer or murder or whatever who stalked people, something about them has just gone bing, and they haven't always been able to put their finger on what it was.
is,
So
yeah.
like obviously we know like Bundy was dark haired, split down the middle because of his ex, but they'll just say I'd be watching families and someone would catch my eye and then they'd focus on them.
Wow,
So
yeah.
something about this family or this couple initially
It's just so unlucky.
bad. Once inside, Rader immediately took control, forcing the family at gunpoint into submission. His methods were cold and calculated, showing no mercy or hesitation. He began by binding Joseph and Julie, tying them up in front of their terrified children.
Oh my God.
Joseph, as I mentioned, a former Air Force pilot, was overpowered despite his desperate attempts to protect his family.
Bless him.
Rader looped ropes around their wrists and ankles and gagged them to muffle their screams.
And hadn't he practiced all these? He was like a freak for knots, wasn't he?
Well, he planned it all, and like, I actually haven't got this in here, but
He was a freak
He
for
d-
knots.
he-
Like,
yeah.
he loved a knot.
with the bands. And
He
loved a knot.
Like, he absolutely loved a knot. So
No,
he
he
was
did.
into all different knots.
Yeah, he was.
So he had all like sick knot techniques going
Because he
on.
used to love tying
so
himself
you couldn't
up.
be getting out of a BTK because he
Oh,
was like
no.
on the sicko knots.
Yeah. With a chilling sense of detachment, Rader then turned to suffocate Joseph Sr. He used a plastic bag to slowly squeeze the life from the man, and while his wife and children looked on helplessly.
That's like a pure power thing.
No, I know. Julie, who was obviously panic-stricken and pleading for their lives, was next. Judah wrapped his hands around her throat, squeezing tighter until the life drained from her eyes. Their death was agonisingly slow, and he made sure that they suffered.
Yeah.
But Rader's sadism didn't end with the adults. His original plan was to only kill Joseph and Julie, but when faced with their 2 young children, something darker stirred.
Not with the kids.
I know.
When it gets to the kids, I like check out.
I know, it's bad. Sorry you needed that. But something darker was stirring within him. Joseph Jr., trembling and crying, was forced to watch his parents die in front of him. In a grotesque display of cruelty, Rader placed a plastic bag over the boy's head, cinched it tight, and watched with morbid fascination as the child's tiny body convulsed, gasping for air before going still. Josephine Otero, the eldest child, endured the worst of Rader's sick fantasies. Terrified and sobbing, she was dragged down to the basement, so isolated from the rest of her family. Rader took his time with her, prolonging the torture. He tied a noose around her neck, secured the rope to the other end of a pipe, and with grim satisfaction he hoisted her into the air, leaving her slowly to strangle. He watched as her young body struggled, writhing in desperation, kicking her feet, looking for something solid beneath to stand on. And his final act of depravity, Rader left her lifeless body hanging, displayed in a disturbingly grotesque manner. So this is like the 40s.
Yeah. See, this is the one with BTK, like, he just gets so heavy, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's not
like,
a vibe.
What he does to kids and everything, like, what the fuck?
The sheer brutality and cold precision of the murders sent shockwaves through the Wichita community. Police were left baffled, finding little in the way of clues. The Otero's family death was unlike anything the local authorities had ever seen. It was so methodical, so heartless. And it was the start of Dennis Rader's reign of terror, a reign that would see him torment and murder others for nearly 2 decades.
For a long time?
Yeah, under the chilling brand of the BTK killer. The Otero family was just the beginning. But this is where, like... So obviously we know that, like, he was into all the bondage and he used to practice it on himself and he'd tie himself up and take pictures.
We're going to get into that, aren't we?
But what he did with this one, which is dead clever, he turned the heating right up when he left the house.
Right.
To speed up
The
decomposition.
Oh, okay.
So then when they come to take the body's temperature, they were like, well, we don't know when the time of death was because it's roasting. It's like your house.
Okay. It's like going for a wee of mine. You're like,
yeah,
the
literally.
decomposition, what's it called?
Decomposition.
Decomposition is happening quick.
No, I come in and I think, is she planning on murdering me?
Everyone says in mine it's too hot. But, like, I wonder why with the last one, the girl, like, do you think he just got a bit experimental or...
Honestly, I think these people, as much as it was methodical, he planned it. He didn't know how it was going to turn out. He didn't plan on even killing the kids. So, like...
What the fuck?
And we go to see in a minute that he doesn't kill the kids when they can another time. So, like, I think he's just thought, fuck it, he's in a frenzy.
Yeah.
He's out of his mind. And he's just gone, right. And he's thought, what
he's
can I do?
He's actually terrifying when you look at him as well,
No,
isn't
I know.
he? Like
his
he
little...
just freaks me out.
Yeah. Rader's next known victim was 21-year-old Catherine Bright, whom he attacked on April the 4th, 1974. He broke into her home and waited for her to return.
No.
Now that bit fucks me up. Yeah. Imagine, like, we live alone, like, fuck that. Like, imagine coming home. Anyway.
And he's just in the kitchen.
No, I'd just go, so I'll do it. Like,
oh, same.
Make it quick.
I'd just make it quick as well.
When Catherine and her brother, so unsuspecting brother, Kevin Bright, arrived, Rader confronted them at gunpoint. He attempted to bind both siblings, but Kevin resisted and fought back.
Bro.
During the struggle, Rader shot Kevin in the head, leaving him for dead. He then turned his attention to Catherine, stabbing her multiple times in the abdomen and torso before fleeing the scene. Miraculously, Kevin survived the attack.
No, he never. He got shot in the head.
And survived and provided police with a description of the assailant. However, despite the valuable lead, the investigation stalled and Rader remained unidentified. But I get why he remained unidentified. It's a different type of kill. He stabbed them and shot them. The other one, he plastic bagged them and strangled.
It's
so,
like a complete different thing. It could be anything.
So, I get it, but also it's another shocking murder, like, in a close vicinity. But there's Radar tapes on Netflix, and it's all of his recordings.
Oh, I think I have
well,
seen it.
The brother's on that. You will have seen it. You will have. The brother's on that, and he's like, and I look like,
yeah,
he tells a story.
Have. It all just blares into one with
No,
me
I know.
these days.
No,
but
same.
Yeah, I definitely have.
Shirley Vane, or Vian.
Shirley.
Rader's third known victim was 24-year-old Shirley, a mother of 3. On March 17th, 1977, Rader entered Vane's home after noticing her through a window. He held her and her children at gunpoint, eventually locking the children in a bathroom.
Oh, okay.
Rader then proceeded to bind and strangle Shirley, killing her in her bedroom. Her children, terrified but unharmed, later managed to escape and provide statements to the police.
Yes, he left them.
Once again, however, Rader was not captured.
Do you think maybe, like, I know this sounds sick, but he tried it that time, then he just kind of thought,
yeah,
like,
and I,
really
but
asked,
being honest, I'm not trying to give him like credit here, but I think he was a dad. I don't think that was his MO. He didn't want to kill kids.
They were just there.
Yeah,
and
I think the first time it was his first kill.
It
so
wasn't his intention.
Yeah, so I think he's thought, no, put you in the bathroom. But honestly, I think the first one, not it wasn't a mistake, but he just went too far, and then I think he's realised and thought, I'm actually not into this.
Yeah.
Like, he does have kids at the end of the day. Not that it, Anyway, later that year, on December the 8th, 1977, Rader struck again, this time targeting 25-year-old Nancy Fox. He broke into her home while she was out and waited for her to return again. Terrifying. When she arrived, Rader threatened her with a knife, bound her and strangled her to death. After the murder, Rader then called the police from a payphone to report the crime himself, taunting them by saying, "You will find a homicide at 843 South Pershing," which is like the address.
What? So do you think he's getting cocky there?
He wants fame. I think he's
well, he did want fame, didn't he? Like,
yeah.
He loved it.
So I think he's like, next step, tell the police like he's getting.
Yeah,
well,
like he did love it in the end, didn't he?
Yeah, they say like a lot of murderers or serial killers or whatever will try and interject or insert themselves into the investigation, whether it's
we've seen this
being in a crowd,
so many times.
whether it's being in the crowd, being
or
like
being interviewed. Like, how many times, even more recently?
No, I know.
Like, what the fuck?
After a long hiatus, so we're now in 1985, so the last one was 1977.
Yeah.
After a long hiatus, Rader resurfaced in 1985 when he murdered 53-year-old Maureen Hedge. I'm going to go into a little bit about his name and how he taunted the police, okay?
Because he loved it, didn't he?
No, so he gave himself the nickname BTK, which
he always reminds me of like Burger King BK. But BTK. But he gives me like a Whopper.
Oh, he's an absolute whopper. He gave himself his own name. That's the biggest
like he gave himself a name.
I know, like everyone else was given a name by the media, which sometimes was a bad thing because it creates hysteria, whatever.
A lot of these serial killers, they love the recognition from the media. We've spoken about this before, but they love it.
Where does he give him itself?
He
call
thought,
me
right,
BTK.
I'm not having this, I'm having my own one.
I know. But we know it stood for bind, torture, kill.
Yeah.
Because he loved to not.
Loved to not. So I want to go into the not because what I've like read up on him and stuff before is like he took a lot of photos of himself. And what I want to know is just out of curiosity, like back then, I can't even work like a selfie button now. I have to get Kate to come round to take a picture of me. So how did you hang yourself up with these bondage and then get a selfie time back then?
But I think you gotta remember it weren't digital cameras. I think it's like a windy camera and it's 30 seconds. Like so he's like, quick, get me up. Well, on his own, put the mask on. Put me bra on. And he was like that.
Wow, he was quick shit. But you know, he was like really into knots. So like
he researched that to
like
death.
Bondage knots, but not even just like your normal little bit of dabbling in bondage. It was like heavy, like where he was so into it, wasn't it? Where if he tied his victim up, it was that like intricate, you would not know.
Escape.
There's no escape out to get out of it. It was like heavy knots.
I know.
Basically.
But when they
heavy knots.
caught it, that kills me, you know. That'll be our caption.
Heavy knots. But you know what I mean? He was heavy knots.
No, he was. And but obviously when they found him and they searched his home, that's what
he had found. Like pictures of himself knotted up.
The police initially, when he admitted to, I mean, I might mention this later on, but they initially thought there was more victims because he wore masks.
Yeah.
So they were like, oh my God, how many? But
What
then,
a freak.
But then he
And
was
then
like,
where
it was me.
Where was his bed while he was knocking himself up in the garden?
No, but it weren't the garden, it was in the woods.
Yeah, but I'd be like, babe,
And the
are you
basement,
coming
actually.
in for the tea or...
In the basement.
Like, I'm just going out
But
for the tea. Then I'd go, babe, where are you? And he's just like knocking up to the tree with his clown on.
Can you imagine Hannah like ever getting with the circle?
But you'd be like...
We don't want this. She'll be out, where are you going? With that rope.
Why? Yeah, like, what? Where are you, babe? Me lamb's going cold here and you're knocking up over the tree.
In the garden. Like he weren't doing this in plain sight. Like,
and he had kids.
Yeah.
How old do we know? How old his kids are? They're like...
I don't know now. They're obviously like
at the time, they were like normal, like running around kids, and he had like no empathy, but he was like, I know he weren't always killing kids, but the fact that it's just mad, isn't it? When like it's a family man. Normally it's a bit of a loner or whatever. He's a family man with kids.
And
like
deep
the
problems.
Fuck, mate. Like, are you going to parents' evening? Like, what are you doing?
I'm sorry. But yeah, amen. Throughout his killing spree, Rader sought recognition and notoriety for his actions. He began sending taunting letters to the media.
Oh, he loved it.
And law enforcement, boasting about the murders and providing details that only the killer would know. His first letter, sent to the Wichita Eagle in October 1974, detailed the Otero murders, including a chilling description of how he had bound and killed the family. In his letters, Rader demanded attention and infamy, writing about how he enjoyed controlling and torturing his victims.
Mm-hmm.
Over the years, he sent several more letters, sometimes accompanied by poems or drawings.
No, mate.
As he continued to toy with the police and the public. Like, what a gimp.
Yeah, a gimp. Like, we don't want a poem.
Despite his taunting, Rader, I love you. Despite his taunting, Rader remained unidentified for decades.
How that?
Because he didn't do the family. Then there was a break. Then there was the other ones, which were
Yeah,
all
he had
different
big
methods.
breaks.
Yeah, all different methods of killing. Then another 10 years. So like, this is over 30
Do you reckon
years.
his binding was to do with it as well?
What do you mean?
Like,
They were all
knocking them
bound.
up and, like,
They were all bound.
suffocating them a bit was a bit like harder.
Well, it takes more energy to it takes like 5
I
minutes
know,
to strangle
but was
someone.
it like, I don't know.
But I always think it's a bit weird that he's like BTK when he didn't really even... He did. He totally bound everyone, but he strangled them, which is torture. But if I thought someone, I'm going to call myself bind, torture, kill, I'm doing like way worse.
Like, yeah.
Like way worse stuff. But I'm not saying they didn't
He weren't the one, like, spoiler, we might cover this one in the future. He weren't the one that like gas tapped them, was he?
No. That's there.
That was
the two of them,
madness,
like
mate.
Otis Toole. No.
Wow, we need to do that one.
We will.
That was heavy.
I can't think of the names.
He gas tapped them to the bag.
Yeah, that was the two of them. There was
Okay,
two
they
of
were
them.
fucking psychos.
Otis Toole and something.
Wow, they were like crazy.
Yeah,
shit,
we'll do
like,
them for sure.
We'll do them.
Despite his taunting, Rader remained unidentified for decades. Obviously, I've just said. Advances in forensic science, such as DNA testing, obviously we've gone from like the 70s, we're now in the 90s. Mm-hmm. But when they weren't available in the 70s, Rader's careful planning and ability to blend in the community allowed them to evade capture. So there's no DNA, different methods of killing, loads of breaks in between, family man.
Snooze, you lose.
Of course he wouldn't get caught, do you know what I mean?
I would love, by the way, sorry I keep putting in, but
No.
to be a forensic scientist. My auntie was one of them. Wow, I would love, I mean, it was never clever enough, but that would be like my dream job to do that.
Same, thanks babe. In 2004, after a 13-year hiatus...
Wow. So it's not even like that long ago?
20 years ago.
Okay.
Dennis Rader, well, it's mad because we go like that 2004 is not, but it is 20 years, but we remember that.
Yeah,
so that's why it's like Dennis Rader resurfaced and reignited the BTK case. Rader, who had been dormant since his last murder in 1991, was triggered by a Wichita newspaper article that speculated that the BTK killer was either dead or alive. So he's
like, hello,
he's just seen that in the papers and
not
gone,
human. He's
me.
like, I'm here. Yeah. I don't want to be dead.
Angered by the lack of recognition for his crimes and eager to reclaim the attention
cheeky twat
he once enjoyed, Rader decided to re-establish communication with the media and the police. this time hoping to cement his legacy as one of the most notorious killers
So
in
he
history.
wants the fame.
Of course. Rader sent a letter to Wichita Eagle again in March of 2004 containing photographs and a copy of Vicky Wegler's, I've said that wrong, sorry, Wegler's driving licence, which had been taken from her home during her 1986 murder. This communication confirmed to law enforcement that BTK was still alive and was indeed responsible for the unsolved murders from the 1970s and the 1980s.
So he's asking for it. He wants it. He wants the recognition.
100%. Raiders returned to taunting the police. I always say this wrong. I'm going to say reignited the investigation, but it also set in motion a series of events that would lead to his untimely capture. Raiders' renewed communication sparked a frenzy among law enforcement as they intensified efforts to track him down using advancements in forensic technology and investigative methods that had developed since the first time the murders happened.
So do you think they'd kind of let it go?
Well, no, they just couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
They had DNA, but they couldn't test it.
Yeah.
So but I think him obviously writing letters going, hello, I've got a driving licence, they've gone, right, we've got him. And then they've gone, oh, it's 2004, oh, we can investigate now. Investigators began receiving a series of communications from BTK, including letters, poems and packages once more. One particularly eerie package contained a doll that was bound in the same way that BTK had tied his victims. Despite his caution in previous years, Rader's thirst for recognition led him to make a critical mistake. In one of his letters, I love this, because I just think, you fucking idiot, but good job, you're an idiot. Rader asked the police if they can trace information from floppy disks. Innocently believing that modern technology wouldn't allow law enforcement to track its origin. The police, knowing that they could, replied saying, we can't trace nothing, send us a floppy disk. Good on them. So they've said, it'll be safe for you to send whatever you want, don't worry, we can't trace you.
Is he thick? Is he thick like me? You've just grassed yourself up.
In February 2005, Rader sent a purple 1.44 megabyte.
He's thick as fuck.
But that floppy disk was at the exhibition. Remember I went, there's a floppy disk. I can't remember if it was the real one or
it's just
a copy of.
Floppy.
But it was at the exhibition.
Probably from it's not the floppy.
It could be.
That'll be in FBI files.
Yeah, probably.
That's pure evidence.
No, but it could have been emptied. They're not going to have the data on it still. Do you know what I mean?
How much is it worth?
Don't, she'll be spending everything. But anyway, a purple 1.44 megabyte floppy disk he sent it to KSAS TV, which is a Fox affiliate in Wichita, along with more letters and a photocopy of a book about the BTK case. Forensic expert quickly analysed the metadata on the disk and traced it to a computer at the Christ Lutheran Church in Park City, Kansas. Where he worked.
His church.
Now, he was the president of the church council. Anyway, additionally, the metadata on the disk contained the name Dennis. Because he's an idiot. This breakthrough gave investigators enough evidence to narrow down their list of suspects. They knew that it was a Dennis, and he was a seemingly upstanding citizen and who is now a prime suspect in the BTK case. After identifying Dennis as a suspect, law enforcement conducted surveillance on him. See, this bit fucks me up, and I don't know. I'm curious to know your opinion. After identifying Dennis Rader as a suspect, law enforcement conducted surveillance and obtained DNA from his daughter, who had been in for a smear test. She had provided to a medical clinic.
Right.
So she's gone in for this, they call it a pap smear, but she's gone in for a smear test. The police have gone,
Can they do that?
Well, I'll go into it.
What's it got to do with it?
But it's to get DNA. Familial DNA. So the DNA from Kerry was compared to the DNA found...
Next minute, okay.
No, well, she doesn't know.
No, I know. Well, Jesus.
But I think that's
When you're going in for a smear?
I think that's bad.
I know, but if it led to that...
No, it did, but then
YOLO.
Where's our smear stuff going? Everyone, book a smear.
Yeah, but I'm not arsed. If my smear's going in to find the serial killer, I'm not that arsed.
No, I know.
YOLO.
We probably know a few serial killers, to be fair.
Well,
but
we did.
anyway,
We'll come back to that.
but basically the DNA from Kerry was compared to the DNA found at multiple BTK crime scenes.
So they found it in a store to smear.
Yeah, and her DNA,
The
and the results were conclusive that Dennis Rader was BTK. Obviously, it's going to show up that the familial DNA. On February 25th, 2005, Rader was arrested while driving near his home.
So it's not that long ago.
No.
I had this put back in like the days.
It was in the 70s.
Yeah, like the whole like case, but I had this back, mate. Like
no, 70. Well, it's 30 years of like
a
story. He was arrested while he was driving near his home in Park City. When confronted with the evidence, Rader initially denied being BTK, but quickly realised the police had irrefutable evidence and proof. During his subsequent interrogations, Rader confessed to 10 murders that he committed between 1974 and 1991. In chilling detail, recounting how he stalked, tortured and killed his victims.
Have we got any tapes of him?
Yeah, on Netflix there is.
See, I don't really...
You will 1,000% have watched it. It's called like... You know, there's like the Gacy tapes.
I must have
There's the Rader
have
tapes.
seen it.
Yeah, and the brother's on it. The brother's getting interviewed. The one who survives, who got shot. You will 100% you will have watched it. How he stalked, tortured and killed his victims. He admits the thrill of controlling his victims, stating that he viewed murder as a game of domination. Rader's demeanour during his confession was cold and very matter-of-fact. He showed little remorse for his crimes, describing his killings with the same clinical precision that he had used when planning them. His confessions painted a horrifying picture of a man who led a double life for decades.
Oh, 100%.
Including his sadistic urges behind the mask of a church leader, devoted father, and ordinary community member.
See, like, he's the proper church leader, and that's like the opposite, isn't it?
100%. He faked it till he made it, let me tell you.
But he definitely did, yeah, he lived the double life. Family, the church leader, don't trust anyone, you know?
Dennis Rader was charged with 10 counts of first-degree murder. In June 2005, he pled guilty to all charges. During his court appearance, Rader provides a shocking and detailed account of each murder, describing how he selected, stalked and killed his victims. He discussed his desire for control and domination, explaining that the murders were driven by his sexual fantasies. His testimony, which was disturbingly, as I've said, matter-of-fact, was devoid of emotion and left a lasting impact on everyone in the court. Because Kansas did not have the death penalty at the time of the BTK murders,
It was.
I know, like
Kansas
no offense,
seems
but
dead, like old school.
Yeah. But
like
at the time,
house fell on Dorothy in there.
What a reference! The house. But it says at the time, so they will have had it at some point, but they may have abolished it.
Yeah.
Rader was sentenced to 10 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole on August 18th, 2005.
He so should have got the death penalty.
He was sent to the El Dorado Correctional Facility in Kansas, where he remains to this day.
No.
Yeah?
He's not alive.
Yeah? Why do you think he's dead?
I just feel like this was so old. That's why when you keep saying dates, I'm like, no.
He only got caught like 19 years ago.
So he's still alive now?
He's still alive.
So we need to hear from him?
He's done the tapes on Netflix. Let me just get it up.
I will have seen it. If there's any serial killer, I've seen it.
I'm like, doubt myself now. Let me just a few minutes
If he's
later.
done it, I've seen it.
What's his name? Bear with me. Is it double N? Hang on.
Anything serial killer on Netflix, I've seen it.
Hang on.
I've seen it.
And maybe I'm chatting shit. Maybe it's not on Netflix then.
I thought it was John Wayne Gacy on Netflix.
That is on Netflix, but there's one. It might be Amazon. But there's tapes, and the fella who got shot is there talking about it.
But I suppose what we've got to talk about here, which is a very cross on the line subject.
Go on, I'm listening.
A very fine line subject is like, and I can't even talk about it, neither can you really, unless you can. But you know, people are into bondage, obviously, and this is a murder case. Obviously, we're not like that's too far, but he was obviously into a little something. So where does the line cross?
I don't know. And that
But
is
then it
with
takes
kinks
to
and-
the kinks and
like,
like
having kinks is fine.
it's fine. And like
consent.
loads of people have
Yeah,
kinks.
like-
but like where do you take that and cross the line to like BTK?
I don't know.
Because
And I don't-
having bondage kinks and like tying yourself up with that,
fine. Like,
sweet, like cheat
go
yourself
off.
or
Go off.
yeah, you know what I mean. Like where did he cross the line? Like it's interesting, isn't
I
it?
don't know. But it's bad.
So he's still alive now.
Yes.
Send someone in. Go in, Kate.
I'm gone. Hi,
Can you
Dennis.
go in? Because I feel like you'd weird. Like,
Oh,
an
yeah, I'd
interview good.
love.
I wouldn't. I'd be like, "Aye, baby, all right." Like, do you want a ciggy? But I feel like you'd weird it
you
so
want a
well.
ciggy?
You'd be like, "Well, can we get?
No, but remember that book I had?
Can you send me a
I
letter?"
need to find that book because that book I had was a chapter on different serial killers, and at the end it said, "This inmate allows correspondence. Please write
quickly.
to." No, I don't know if he does allow correspondence, but like some do, and you can write them. No, because I'll be that arsehole that like falls in love and gets married.
Yeah, quick, right? What are you waiting for? Hoodie your
Anyway.
Because I'll be like, "Hiya, babe. How's life in there?" Like, I'd be shit. You'd be good. Like, so
Yeah.
we're doing a true crime podcast. Imagine he wrote back.
No, I would die if he wrote back.
Message him, he's
I'd
still
have-
alive.
I'd have to give him like a PO box. He's not having my address. Not that he's going to do anything, but like, no. Anyway,
Give him a PO box then. Quick.
at his sentencing, victims' family members addressed the court, expressing their pain and grief over the brutal loss of their loved ones. Rader sat silently, occasionally showing slight reactions, but never fully expressing remorse for his actions. So, psychological profile next. Dennis Rader's psychological profile has been studied extensively by criminologists and psychologists in an attempt to understand the mind of a serial killer who was able to evade detection for so long.
And he didn't have much empathy at all.
No. Sorry, I thought it went in.
It was like you said, it was a sexual thing for him. Very, very,
100%.
very much
He was
so.
horned up on the knots.
The nuts.
Rader's desire for power and control, his sexual sadism, and his ability to compartmentalise his life were key components of his personality. Because that alone's mad. Like, I get having living a double life.
However,
Like, people live double lives, but like we know many people that kind of do that. Like, people have affairs, and I'm not saying it's comparable, but like
no.
but you know what I mean. Like the fact that he could put that in a box and then go and do parents' evening.
I know, but people are freaks. You can't trust anyone.
No.
This is what I mean. Everyone's a freak.
Rader demonstrated traits commonly associated with psychopathy, such as lack of empathy, superficial charm, and his tendency to manipulate others. His ability to live a seemingly normal life while simultaneously carrying out brutal murders suggests he was highly adept at compartmentalising, like I've just mentioned.
Can I ask a question? So, in the background of this, he was just a really good dad.
No, well, yeah, but that's what they're saying. Like, it's so extraordinary that he was able to compartmentalise it and do both. Like, that is hard.
He was the family man.
Yeah. And he could put it in a box until it came out again.
Yeah.
His factor
snake.
X would come through, and that's when he'd go, I've got to do it again.
He was on the snake majorly.
Yeah, but that's factor X. So, some experts suggest that Rader may have also suffered from narcissistic personality disorder.
100%.
Given his grandiosity, need for attention, and obsession with being recognised for his crimes.
Oh my God, he loved it. He wrote to them with his own name.
Rader himself referred to his need to kill as Factor X, which I just mentioned, which he described as a force that drove him to commit murder. He believed that this compulsion was something he could not control, and that in his mind it justified why he did what he did.
Yeah, I don't know.
That makes sense though, because he's going like, it's coming. It's like devil on the shoulder.
Yeah.
So his arrest, Dennis Rader's arrest and confession brought an end to one of the most longest running and most notorious serial killers in American history. It's become a case subject to intense interest in criminology, psychology and popular culture. Rader's ability to hide his true nature for decades, living as I've mentioned, a well-respected family member and his community, made the case an enduring study for the complexity of human behaviour and the ability of individuals to lead double lives. Rader's story is being featured in numerous documentaries, books and television shows, including the crime series Mindhunter, where his case explored the context of criminal profiling. His case is often cited as an example of how advances in forensic technology such as DNA and digital forensics can help solve cold cases and bring justice to victims and their families.
Yeah.
The BTK case also highlighted dangers, though, of police being taunted by serial killers seeking notoriety.
Yeah.
Rader's need for recognition ultimately led to his downfall, which is amazing. But it also took up a lot of police time because obviously, like, although it helped them,
The attention,
like
and the
we
time.
saw in the Peter Sutcliffe, they followed the wrong lead because some arsehole wrote in, like.
Yeah.
Rader's arrest and confession brought close to a case that had haunted Wichita for over 30 years, but it raised ethical and legal questions, particularly about how law enforcement obtained the DNA from Rader's daughter, which I'm still like...
That's a madness, that.
Mad. Some argue that using a family member's medical records to identify a suspect was an invasion of privacy.
But if they didn't...
No, but they're tailing them. Get a coffee cup he throws in the bin.
I know, but if they didn't...
No. Like, if I followed you, the amount of Starbucks you have, I could get your DNA if I followed you for 2 hours.
I know, but we can't moan about it because they
No,
got
I know, but why go? Hello, doctor's office. They will have had to have written warrants. They will have had to have got, like...
I don't know, but I don't think we can moan because we had them.
Yeah, I don't know, I just think, like... I mean,
yeah, it's shit, but we had them.
It was anyway legally it was ruled it was ruled that it was legal and necessary. So, like...
I'm like, we had them.
No, I know. And it obviously ultimately led to a good thing, and it was an investigative tool, but I just think you're following him, get his DNA. But if go to church, get him to hand you a Bible and then take the Bible
the
to
holy
the church.
bread.
Yeah, like, anyway. Additionally, Rader's public confessions and description of his murders caused significant distress to victims' families who had to relive the trauma of their loved ones' deaths. Pardon me. The media coverage of Rader, along with his willingness to discuss his crimes, added to the sensationalism surrounding the case, leading to debate about how serial killers should be reported on and treated by the press.
Because I feel like he did love it as well.
100%.
He wanted that. So even when he probably got nicked and that, he was loving it because he put that out there with like his own name and like he wanted that, what's it called, notoriety, is that what it's called? Like he wanted that. So...
And he has the right to tell his story.
Yeah.
But I often think, like, you should have been stopped from telling your story because you loved it.
Yeah.
But, like, we can't stop him because by law he has to, but, like, anyway.
And we need to know his story. We're talking about him.
But basically, Dennis Rader's case exemplifies the complexities of human psychology, particularly the ability to compartmentalise one's darkest desires whilst presenting a facade of normalcy. His long reign of terror, combined with his desire for recognition and control, has ensured that BTK killer remains as an enduring figure in the study of criminal behaviour. His legacy continues to serve as a reminder of the depths of...
Yeah, he's terrifying. Like, when I hear BTK, that I get, like, shiver. It's one of them. With other ones and that, but with him, I don't know what it is. I go, oof.
But we've all got one that gives us, like, the feels.
Yeah, he gives me the creeps and he's born on me fucking birthday.
His legacy continues to serve as a reminder of the depths of human depravity and the importance of vigilance in investigating such heinous crimes.
I feel like with BTK, you could have gone on. Like, we could have gone into this for like 3 episodes.
And this is the debate I've been having. Some we will do in 2 parts.
Like, because we could go into that so much more because it's so heavy and it's so long, but we don't want it right now at this point,
we want to get it back on the train and then...
Yeah.
But yeah.
But I mean, we hate them all, but I hate him. He really gives me the shivers, but yeah.
Different from last week, innit? And she loved Eileen.
Yeah.
Come on, Eileen.
Right, but...
Well, cheers.
Thanks, Kay, for that.
No, you're welcome. Now, like, subscribe, comment, follow.
Do it all. Give us the best review.
Send requests.
Be nice, don't be snid, or else block
yeah.
And that is why you don't talk to strangers.
Oh, yeah.
Right, that was heavy.
Yeah, it was.
BTK has always sent like a shiver up my spine.